So there was a moment in my life where I felt like there was too much distraction with work and business and all of that stuff. So I went the route of that eat, pray, love route. And in my mid-20s, I kind of turned my back on everything in a weird way as far as work and money and stuff like that, and took a lot of time off. Hi, and welcome back to the show. Thank you to everyone who spent the time to watch those very first few episodes. Man, I couldn't be any luckier. If you saw, I was in Texas and it started snowing. I've been in Florida now for about a month, and it's like summer here during the winter time, so that's pretty amazing. I've been actually spent a little time to go down to Miami recently. It was pretty amazing. I'm not going to lie. That's one of the most beautiful cities. It's like kind of reminds me of the San Diego as far as like a city being built on the water, but this one is way different. I mean, just the vibes are different. The people are different. But I love it. It was really fun. I spent a lot of time out there. Got to eat a lot of great food. I could see Miami as being a spot I could hang out with for a while. I actually haven't picked a place specifically. I've been looking around and trying to figure out all sorts of options. I was even looking internationally. I want to try and be somewhere with a lot of nature, I think. I just love the idea of being out to hike, that kind of stuff. So we'll see where I end up. But this episode's going to be titled, Who Am I? And I know this is a common question that everybody asks. It's going to be two parts. It's about who I am specifically, like what I do nowadays, that sort of thing, because I know a lot of you don't even really know who I am. But you might know a little bit about me, or you might know me from my past. And then also, I think that question everybody asks at some point in their life, like, who am I? I know that was like a huge thing for me. I mean, since I grew up the way I did, I just decided like at 18, that was what it was all about. I had to figure out, who am I? Who am I supposed to be? It's kind of interesting when you start going on this path. I think it meets you halfway in a weird way. You start finding these things about yourself. The coolest thing that I ever realized is that when I got older is like I actually could choose to be whoever I wanted to be. That was the strangest like thing I think I ever found out. I was thinking that you're supposed to become something. It took a long time to figure that out. Most kids, I think, go through this too. Like maybe your parents have some idea of who you're supposed to become, and so they put you through a certain system, and maybe you're supposed to be a doctor or some sort of lawyer or some sort of version like that, or even come and working in your father's business and whatever it is. There's a lot of people that do like I mean, my dad does food. He didn't specifically ask us to do that. If anything, he warned us about how hard it was. But there's a lot of fathers that I saw that would do that kind of stuff. I think I was very lucky with my dad. He definitely liked the idea of college. I think everybody assumes that college is a big deal, but my parents were not. That was the one thing about my parents, that they really were kind of open to the idea of like, let the kids be a little bit independent about that specific thing, because they're working class people. I think they understand it already. Like working is hard and all that kind of stuff is difficult. They just wanted us to try to choose like the best path possible for ourselves. And I think that's what every parent really wants anyway. But for me, like at 18, I decided to start a business instead of going to college. I just was out already in the system and had been working for so long already since I was like 14 years old. I'd already had income and money, and I'd bought a car. And I guess I just felt like going to college almost felt like, I don't know, like a step back in a weird way. I didn't know what I was supposed to study business. It didn't make any sense. I felt like I was going to learn a lot more by being hands-on. I think that I made the right decision, at least for myself. It was great. Like the very first business was car washings, Mike's on-site detailing. I got an actual business license, a trailer, brought my own water and electricity on this trailer, pulled it with a nice truck and everything, and did on-site detailing. And this was, you know, a long time ago. It wasn't that popular at the time, but it was awesome. Like manual labor, making money, being out in the sun. And I actually was able to sell that business to one of my clients. He saw I was doing super well, and I decided I wanted to move to Dallas when I was like 19, 20. So I only had done the business for about a year, but it had done so well. So I sold the business to him, moved to Dallas with that money, and started another business in Dallas. And I've just kind of been this entrepreneurial type kid for a while. Like that's what I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to run a business. So I was kind of doing all sorts of stuff. The business in Dallas was a concierge business, like personal concierge. So basically taking care of people, taking care of buildings and whatever they needed, and hiring like maid companies and chauffeur services, pet walking services, and really handling the day-to-day for a lot of people. And again, all of these businesses and all those things were great, and I had a good time, and I learned a lot of stuff from them, but I kept feeling like something was missing, right? That who am I was always a big deal. So there was a moment in my life where I felt like there was too much distraction with work and business and all of that stuff. So I went the route of that eat, pray, love route. And in my mid-20s, I kind of turned my back on everything in a weird way as far as work and money and stuff like that, and took a lot of time off. traveled a little bit, studying a lot of different religions. I did a lot of different stuff. I did like the partying stages, but I also did like the very spiritual stages. I was trying to experience the edges of life. I didn't grow up doing that stuff. I didn't have a college time, I didn't do all of that. I was very serious my whole life. So this was kind of an opportunity for me to, I guess, just be young. I had to figure out what that was. The who am I was like, that's the burning thing that happens in your 20s. It still happens in your 30s too. I think at the end of your 30s, hopefully, if you worked hard trying to go through that, you'll figure it out. I don't think there's a specific answer for each person. I think it's an experience that you have that gives you that. I don't think it's something that you can explain or anything like that. I think it's a complicated math problem for each person. I do like helping people on those paths. I know there's a lot of stuff that I've done specifically that I think a lot of people could try and see if it worked for them. I think the most common stuff is health and fitness. Everybody knows that. For whatever reason, it seems to work really well. I think it's one of those things that's really hard to get into at the beginning. But once you break the barrier and you start having the endorphin rushes and all that kind of stuff happening and you see the results, it does kind of change your life quite a bit. I did seek a lot of clarification through that world. Like when I started working on my health, I felt like a lot of answers were coming to me. It seems strange. It seems like you're more clear. You feel like you're communicating with, some people say God, the universe, whoever it is that you're communicating with. It feels more, direct whenever you're on a healthier path. I got really heavy into meditation, and I did notice that it helped me quite a bit. When I really got a little bit older, again, like I talked about earlier, was like the best thing that I realized when I got into my 30s was that I could just start creating whoever I wanted to be. And you start getting those little butterflies in your stomach when you think about that, because you can just kind of make some crazy stuff up in a weird way. Yeah, it makes it a little more exciting getting up when you know that you get to be that person or be on that path. It's not always easy, I have to admit, because when you start doing that kind of stuff, because most people are not doing this, it really does, it makes other people uncomfortable. A lot of times they'll be trying to steer you back into the path. They're going to try and tell you whatever they think is right. And it's hard. You don't always get the validation that you want. And I think that's a very human thing, is to need validation from stuff. And yeah, you're not always going to get that validation when you go down that your own path, so to say. As I got older, I started realizing that I was really good at figuring this kind of stuff out, and I started helping other people. I've been helping people, for a long time. This is the first time I've really talked about it publicly. I tried to keep it private. It was more of a personal thing that I was doing, so people would come to me that had, say, health issues or mental issues, and I was there, try to be there for them in whatever ways I could. Because I feel like I've been through a lot of those experiences and a lot of those roadblocks already. I've tried so much stuff. Like I've gone through the psychiatrist, psychologist, like those retreats, the religious paths, the doctors, the health, medical path, the yoga path. I've done them all. I feel like I can be helpful for a lot of those people who are trying to go through that journey themselves, and just kind of help guiding them a little bit and keeping them safe, because it is hard. It's hard to go down a path that's not as well lit. I call it the dark path. That's a lot of what my brand and vibe's about, right? It's a lot of times a darker path that you're creating for yourself. There's not always a flashlight for it. And so I'm kind of hoping to create that. I'm trying to create some sort of clarity on what that feels like to walk around in that darkness and make people feel okay and a little safer. I think a lot of the anxiety and fear and a lot of the stuff that most people are fearing or feeling is because of the stuff that is going on around them. And it's like a darkness in a weird way. And we often look at that as a negative experience, and the universe wouldn't give us something so much and see so many beautiful things come from these darkness and from these dark paths if it wasn't meant to be. There's a lot of people that talk about, life being very related to music. You need low notes and high notes, and you need all the notes in between for music to make sense, for it to have a melody, for it to sound beautiful. And I think life is the same way. You got to have the darkness, you got to have the lightness, and everything in between. And that is really kind of where I started creating this new brand from, where the show starts to come from, why I'm trying to be a little more public. I'm very private. I've just been private for so long. I've tried to be in front of the camera multiple times back in the past, and I was very shy, to be very honest. I don't know. It felt like there's too much ego being in front of the camera, and that's not me. That's not, typical type of person that I am, where I want to talk and act like I have it all figured out, because I don't. Most people who go on do a lot of these types of videos. I mean, there's tons of podcasts, tons of people that do shows. I mean, they all seem to have it figured out and they have these answers, and it's just not true. You know, I've done it all. Nobody has the answer. I mean, I've met some of the most successful people you've ever seen, celebrities. I've been around a lot of people, and not everybody has it all figured out. There's just no such thing. I want to connect with younger generation as much as possible, especially the ones that connect to the darker side of things, to feel like they have some sort of example. I remember telling people, like, when I left the home at 18, it feels like you have Tony Robbins to look up to, right? Like, he's like the one person that you're supposed to learn how to live life from. And it's just nothing against the guy. He has a lot of great information, but I mean, it's just not that relatable, and not everybody wants to like jump up and down and scream and all the kind of weird stuff and running on hot coals. And I mean, that stuff is, I understand what it's there for, but not everybody needs that. You know, not everybody's that kind of person. And so I feel like maybe I can create some sort of clarity and some sort of path for the individuals who happen to end up in a lot of the darker side of the world, and see if that can be helpful. You know, like, I want to be helpful. I think that was one of the things as I got older. It wasn't about money anymore. It's like I felt like I wanted to help a little bit more. It's like I've been helping teenagers for such a long time now, and I was like, instead of repeating these words over and over again to individuals, like when I'm helping them with, like I said, mental roadblocks, physical roadblocks, spiritual roadblocks, why not just put that in a book? So like it's there, and a lot of people can be helped with it. And so that's what I'm doing. That's kind of what the getting away is, to go and just kind of finish it and go get it done. Then I got to send it off to an editor, go through that process. So it's going to probably take a little time to come out, but I just feel like if I get the videos, get some things going, try to create a connection with people, then maybe it can be helpful. So that's pretty much a little bit about how I started with the question of who I am, or who am I, and ended up about who I am. Yeah, like I ended up creating this version of myself because I wanted to be happy. I wanted to have a business that makes me happy, a life that makes me happy. I like traveling. I like, connecting with other people and helping them in these areas specifically, because I feel like there's not a lot of people that work in these areas. Everybody wants to talk about the light, and they want to stay from the darkness and that sort of stuff. And yeah, I just want to see if I can be helpful. That's kind of what it's all about. So the brand specifically, the word Qiaroskuro, if you look it up, the Latin word of it is the contrast of light and dark, especially in art and that sort of things. I just kind of redesigned the wording. I put a Q instead of the CH. So if you look it up, it's spelt a little differently. I don't know. I was just trying to make something where it had like my own Google page and trying to come up with something a little bit different. So this is the very first product. There's an oil-based version that I can ship internationally. So this is done with like organic fractionated coconut oil. So you can like rub it on your skin. It's not as strong as like a spray. It's still a strong concentrate. I put it's over 23% concentrate of the perfume. So it's a very strong perfume. But yeah, like I know everybody else has gone through this. If you've had something that you feel like it's maybe helped you, or you find it was very interesting that helped you figure out that question of like, who am I? If you want to share it, that'd be awesome. You can share it below in the comments. You can share it with me, and I'll talk about it in one of the other videos. But yeah, that's pretty much who I am. Like nothing that exciting. I'm trying not to show it off, trying not to make it seem like I'm doing anything that special. I think a lot of people who do this path want to try and make it seem like everything is perfect all the time. I kind of want to show a little bit of a different light for those types of people. Solo entrepreneur life is not always that exciting. Sometimes it can be hard and lonely, and it's complicated, and you're always trying to look for a place to live and move around, and airplanes and stuff like that. It's not that exciting all the time. But you get those moments that, they make me feel alive, like being able to be in a different location. I feel very lucky to be here even for right now, while so many other people are dealing with the winter. So that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you guys all have a great week. I'm going to have another video come out very soon. And if you want, you can subscribe on any of the podcast stuff. I'm going to try to do Spotify, Apple, iTunes, but YouTube's going to be my biggest platform. Try to keep up there if you can. And then I'll post on Instagram. I'll probably do that. And we'll go from there. So y'all have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.